talk about at the Moldy table. Hello and welcome to another episode of the famous Moldy Table podcast. I am your famous host, the famous Sam from the famous YouTube channel, No Time for Nonsense. And I am here with your famous other host, Kevin from the famous YouTube channel, known as the famous Kevin the Mevin.
Yup, I'm the number one celebrity on Kiwi Farms. Speaking of people who probably are gonna someday be on Kiwi Farms, such as myself, I've really dug myself into a hole, Sam.
Yeah.
Have you noticed? So I'm sure nobody really remembers about this since it happened a solid 2 days ago. We're recording this on, I think it's August 5th.
Probably.
But basically,
that sounds about
I
right.
tweeted something out, and lots of people were not happy.
No,
And
not
so
happy at
there
all.
there were some notable unhappy lads in the comments, such as Nicholas the Oreo milkshake and the correct opinion.
Yeah.
They weren't happy with what I had to say. Where do we start, Sam?
All right. Well, first start.
There's so much to this.
Kevin, read your tweet. All right, because I'm going to critique your tweet, and I'm also going to defend you.
Okay, so basically, I'll give a tiny introduction before reading it because I also have to go find it.
Yeah.
Basically, recently YouTube's been back on a lot of YouTubers' minds for some of their new policies that people don't seem to like. And there's always this sort of resurgence in people who like to critique YouTube, like the way YouTube runs its business. And I've always been kind of like, why are you actually complaining? Because you see people who are just like, my channel doesn't get as many views as it used to. YouTube, you're broken. And, I'm just like, come on, dude. That's your problem. But this time it's a little more understandable because now they've started to roll in some new policies that are going to really affect commentary channels. And we did see 2 channels in particular get taken down, one of which has been reinstated, but Fainted and Lieutenant Corbus. So we've realized that these new policies could be a serious threat to commentary YouTubers. But even then, I'm still a little skeptical of all of the criticisms. So in a fit of rage, I tweeted
have the
out.
Tweet. I want to be the one to read the tweet.
Okay.
So you
By
can
the
give
way,
your
the fit of
introduction.
rage was
Yeah.
the fit of rage thing was a joke. I just kind of wanted to say this. Okay, you go.
Okay, so this is Kevin's tweet. He said, I'm going to read this as exact as I possibly can. This is a
I
message...
hope you can read it exact, because it's right there.
Hey, look.
Sam, can you read?
Yes, but you'll see what I mean.
Yeah.
So the tweet starts with, this is a message to all YouTubers, ... Enter. New line. If you don't like the way YouTube is enforcing the rules, end of sentence, new sentence, then leave. Leave is in all capitals. Stop complaining about how unfair it is that people are losing their channels. YouTube has a right to decide what content they want on this website. Deal with it! Exclamation point. All right, so now for the
I feel
note.
like we could have just put a screenshot up so people could have seen
Maybe.
what the tweet looked like instead of you reading the punctuation.
Instead of me reading it with all the punctuation.
But yeah, I get what you mean.
Okay.
Okay, so here you can talk about it before I give my justification.
Okay.
And what I really meant.
Now, this is just something I've noticed about the way that you tweet, Kevin, is sometimes the way that you tweet is not in the substance, but like in the punctuation and way that you write words is a bit similar to like Keemstar.
I get it. I was thinking upon rereading the tweet after I heard everybody complaining about it, I thought of it as more of something that like Boogie would tweet out or that Quentin Reviews would tweet
No,
out,
not
because
at
it's
all.
very like, I mean, I think the message of it isn't, but I think the way people reacted to it is kind of similar to that, albeit I'm not a pathetic human being.
Well, the not really. It's not really similar to Boogie, but I guess kind of like Quinn, more so Keemstar, and not in the substance either. It's not similar to Keemstar. Like in the way you have exclamation points, and
Oh yeah.
you say like this is a message to people, and you sound very stubborn and sure of yourself in the tweet. Basically,
I
you're
like exclamation points. The funny thing is, like, what I feel like my Twitter voice is so much different
than your
than
YouTube.
my real,
Yeah.
because my YouTube voice, I'm this weird kid who has a weird voice that, and some people think I haven't gone through puberty yet. Just stop complaining about my voice. Leave me alone. But on YouTube, I think I just sound more stubborn and more headstrong.
You mean on
because
Twitter?
wait, on
you
Twitter
sound more
I can't
stubborn and
speak. Yeah,
headstrong.
and on YouTube I'm a little more calm because
Yeah.
I usually don't get too mad about anything that happens on within like the YouTube community because I just don't care enough. And usually what happens is pretty light in terms of content, and it's just someone like, Zoella making an advent calendar that costs too much money, or Rice Gum made a family channel and it's boring. And I just can't bring myself to be truly mad about it, but I can talk about it in a calm way. But I guess my use of exclamation points and spaces is a little aggressive.
Now, yes, but now that said, so your Twitter voice is a lot more aggressive than your YouTube voice, and I think that the way that the tweet is worded and like the punctuation in it, I think throws a lot of people off. But now, if we leave that aside, what you're actually saying isn't bad. What you were basically trying to say when you wrote this tweet is like, now I don't think that you worded this in the best way, but I think that what you meant to say from what it seems to me is like, it's fine, like you're allowed to criticize YouTube, but the fact is a multi-billion-dollar corporation probably isn't going to take the time to listen to Nick DeOrio's opinion about how they should run the site. So, like, if you have all these problems with this big money, multi-billion-dollar corporation, which isn't run well, then you should probably leave it and find a more indie corporation.
Yeah,
because YouTube just isn't going to change.
It wasn't even in like, I don't like what you're saying, so you should leave. It's like, there are people out there who are understandably very mad about how YouTube's choosing to run their business. And I was like, you guys don't seem happy. You should try to find an alternative, because chances are YouTube's not going to change. They're going to want to be family friendly. They want to attract advertisers. They want to make money. And what, you and your like however many thousands of subscribers are going to change what they think? No. Money speaks way louder than your opinions to them. So I'm just like, then leave. Find another site. Use the influence you have to be like, hey, I'm going to start uploading to this site. Why don't you watch me here? You guys watch me here or something. I mean, obviously you're not going to find an alternative that's as big as YouTube, and you're not going to find one that's going to make you as much money. But, there are other ways to get your opinions out there.
Yeah, it's just,
other than making a YouTube video.
There are some things, like with getting someone their channel back, where oftentimes if you just get a big enough tweet storm and just get a large enough amount of people angry about it, that YouTube will do something, and it won't. I don't necessarily think that they're doing it because it's like, oh, we need to do what's right, It's just that there are a lot of people tweeting at them, telling them to do
Yeah.
it, so they're like, okay.
They don't care. They're just gonna do whatever makes. Honestly, they just want money.
Yeah.
And
with Monkey Jones, they didn't do it. Because with Monkey Jones, it was clearly very intentional. Like with with what's his name? The person who was the person that got deleted that just got their channel back?
Fainted.
Yeah, Fainted. With Fainted, it was clearly it clearly seemed like a bunch of people just flagging his videos is what it seemed like. It didn't seem like it was a YouTube inside job. With Monkey Jones,
they also gave it back. They gave Fainted his channel back within a day, so there's no way there was much thought put behind it.
Yeah. And with Monkey Jones, Team YouTube replied to him and came up with ways as to how he was fairly deleted. So that
Monkey
was clearly
Jones,
from
that was
the
very
inside of
intentional.
YouTube, and they did not want him on the platform.
Yeah, that's a little more understandable.
Yeah. But like with people like, Nick the Oreo and the right opinion, I'm not saying that your opinions on YouTube are wrong. You're probably right about what you say about how it should be run, but YouTube's not going to listen to you.
Yeah.
So it's fine to be an activist for these things, but if you really do have like these serious problems with YouTube and you really think that YouTube can take away your career at any second, then you should probably move to a more indie video site.
Exactly. And the thing is, a lot of what people were complaining about was they were like, YouTube is some people's job and they need this job. This is the only job that they have. And it's like, especially over the past year, we've seen time and time again that YouTube is not a viable job. YouTube is not a place where you can make a steady income, and it's really not a place you should trust all your income to be coming from, because the fate of your channel or the fate of your job is in the hands of some corporate overlords who just don't care about you.
Mm-hmm. Unless you're like
as
a
much
very
as you want to say it.
few amount of specific examples. Like there are some YouTubers that have made a very good income off of YouTube, but most of the time, these are either
winning the lottery.
Yeah, they're like 10 people or like 20 people.
Yeah,
like there are not many. Like there's Jack's Films, and PewDiePie, and like
and
H3.
even then, it's like you have to, because also the other thing is you have to know how to adapt your content to make. This is a little off topic, but if you want to stay around and keep this as your job for a while, you got to adapt your content to, what's poppin'. And I think just a lot of people don't know how to do that. I think we've seen Jack's Films, PewDiePie. Those are the only two I can really think of that have really just stayed strong for a very long time.
is basically like a celebrity now.
Yeah.
Like he's not just a YouTuber
he hasn't been on the platform or doing what he's been doing for as long, I don't believe.
Yeah,
or he hasn't always been big. But I think he'll eventually reach that threshold, if anything, for his podcast.
Yeah, I think his podcast, because he's
really
basically like a celebrity outside of YouTube. Like he's kind of known as a podcaster because he gets people like Bo Burnham, and he's getting Andrew Yang.
Oh, that's gonna be a good episode.
Yeah, that's gonna be great. He had Jordan Peterson before, and like he's getting some big names.
Yeah. But anyway, back to me getting ridiculed in the comment section, or in the replies to my tweet that a lot of people seem to like. As we've probably said already, there were a lot of people who were not happy with what I have to say, and the one response that sticks out to me the most is probably the one from Nick the Oreo. I'll read it. It's hard to find because I deleted the tweet because I just couldn't handle all the people commenting the same thing.
When you get like 10 notifications every 5 minutes all saying, "Lol, Kevin, I screenshotted this. Your opinion is wrong." Ding dong.
I screenshotted it and I like reposted it just so it wouldn't go away, because I'm not gonna hide from what I said. I still stand by what it said. I stand by the message of what I said, albeit I could have used better wording.
You know, I think that before you get to the Nick the Oreo tweet, the response that stuck out to me the most, because it was like the only response that I saw, because I didn't see the tweet when it was live, was Big Faith just kind of quote tweeting it and saying, on today's episode of Awful Opinions, and then screenshotting it and saying, you'll never be able to forget this, Mev. It's like, all right.
That's me, big boy Mev over here.
Man, you really changed my opinion on that tweet by saying that it's on today's episode of Awful Opinions. You know, I thought that it was a good tweet, but since you pointed out that it's on today's episode of Awful Opinions, I don't think I'm gonna like it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is, when you see so many people replying to a tweet that you made, and they're just kind of saying, hey, your opinion is wrong, you're just kind of like, oh, maybe I was wrong about this. Maybe I should, apologize for what I said, or maybe I should, say, hey, I think I was originally wrong. But then you see one person just be like, no, Kevin, you were right. And then you're like, oh, I was right. And people who responded to me saying, ding dong, your opinion is wrong, are dumb. Okay?
Yeah.
It was actually insane because I was kind of freaking out at the time because I just tweeted out this thing, and all of a sudden I see that my tweet has like 30 replies and 12 likes, and I'm just like, oh my God, I messed up. And then so I deleted the tweet because I was like, this is bad. And then I re-uploaded a screenshot being like, hey, I said this. I probably could have worded it better. Because I didn't want the tweet to completely go away. I just didn't want people, just kind of nailing into me in the replies because I could have worded something better. But then Pimpsy, shout out to Pimpsy, replied this to me. You can read it, Sam.
All right, so
I'm bored of talking.
Pimpsy replied, I mean, were you wrong, though? I always thought it was a little stupid how whiny YouTubers can get about how they can't post whatever they want on a site they don't own. They're given a form of payment through the site, and if they see it as a primary source, then they need to come to term with the facts that there's rules and regulations in every workplace. In the end, they have a lot more,
leniency.
I'm dyslexic.
Sam can't read.
Leniency
than most workplaces have. It always came across as childish when people endlessly complain about it. But also, I can see how it can get annoying and stressful when YouTube seems to pick and choose what it deems appropriate and what it doesn't. And that's an important thing, because if you look at what Nick the Oreo said, what replied to my tweet, he said, it's also my right as a consumer and creator to bitch about whatever the fuck I want and hope other louder / more influential creators echo it. If you don't like it, feel free to ignore the tweets and videos. And then eventually people started responding with things like this one guy, Marcus Gonhai, I think that's how you say it. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. Replied to me and brought up an example and was like, explain how Monkey Jones's 2 channels banned in one day without warning. In fact, the videos that were problematic were fully monetized. How is it enforcing the rules when there is no communication? And that right there is the weakest argument ever, because it falls apart with 5 words. Read 7B in the TOS. Okay? I think if you read the YouTube Terms of Service, which I've done, you'll come across Section 7B, which says, YouTube reserves the right to decide whether content violates these terms of service for reasons other than copyright infringement, such as, but not limited to, pornography, obscenity, or excessive length. YouTube may at any time without prior notice and in its sole discretion remove such content and or terminate a user's account for submitting such materials in violation of these terms of service. And that right there is YouTube playing God. YouTube had a right to delete Mumkey Fainted, Lieutenant Corbis. YouTube can delete whoever they want, and it's in their terms of service.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is people complain about how, they're always getting demonetized and they can't get, people to look over their content and see that it's fair. But they're complaining about channels getting deleted without prior notice. And it's like, dude, you haven't read the terms of service. Why are you expecting YouTube to, like, listen to what you say if you don't listen to what they say?
Look, I don't, we don't like.
And wait, let me make it clear. I think that Section 7B is ridiculous, and I personally don't like it that YouTube can just delete whatever channel they want. However, that's the rules, and YouTube has the right to make their own rules, and if we don't like that, well, we're using their service, so we kind of have to either move or just accept it. The only person you can change is yourself.
Well, I mean, like, there's nothing wrong with being an activist, right? Like, you can be an activist for change in YouTube. Like, that's fine.
But you might get deleted.
Just know, when YouTube is deleting Monkey Jones' channel, they technically have every right to. And I'm not saying...
And they say that they will.
I think it was terrible that they deleted Monkey Jones' channel, and I think that everyone that made videos trying to get Monkey Jones back on the platform was great, because I think that all the activism trying to get Monkey Jones back onto the platform was very warranted, and I think that, honestly, if more people actually took part in trying to get Monkey Jones's channel back, then he probably would be back. But that said, YouTube is an anti-free speech, big money platform. So you can be an activist all you want, and, like, that's great. I probably agree with what you're in support of for changing YouTube. But YouTube technically has the right to do whatever they want. So if you want to make this your income, then you might want to maybe find a backup or leave and find a website that's not going to delete you for having a different opinion than the creators have, or trying to be a satirist.
And honestly, like, even if you do play by all the rules, they can still delete you because, as it says in 7B, YouTube reserves the right to decide whether content violates these terms of service. So they can interpret them whatever way. Essentially, that, like, paragraph is the only one that matters because it just says YouTube can do whatever they want, unless it's, like, copyright infringement, in which case, there's laws around that. And I mean, it sucks. I don't like it, but I think especially as commentary channels, we all just kind of have to accept that one day we could wake up and our channel could be gone, and there's kind of nothing we can do about it, except just hope that, we can make a big enough stink about it that our channels return. And I don't want to, and honestly, like, I feel like one big problem I have with my original tweet is I made it seem like I made myself seem too cavalier. Like, I don't want to see any channels start disappearing because, I watch a lot of YouTube content, and I'd be sad if some of the creators I watch started not being allowed to post on the website. I wasn't that big a Monkey Jones fan, but I watched some of his stuff, and I definitely was a little disappointed that I wouldn't be able to watch his stuff on YouTube anymore. But I kind of just accepted that one day, the creators I watch might not be allowed to post on here because of good old paragraph 7B. But that being said, for the rest of the episode, unless you have something more to say, I do want to address how commentary channels particularly, why commentary channels particularly should be worried about this new policy update and about the way YouTube's gonna, conduct themselves moving forward. So there's an article that just came out a few hours ago from us recording this on The Verge, and they wrote an article called YouTube's Creator-on-Creator Harassment Policy Could Affect Commentary Videos. And to be honest, I sort of jumped in my seat with excitement when I saw this because the commentary is becoming a real thing, and it's starting to kind of take its own form, which is why, YouTube's trying to address it, because for better or for worse, they accept that it's a part of the YouTube community, and they want to, do something about it so they can shape it to be how they want. But there's a quote in the article, and we'll link it below because it's actually a very good article.
Mm-hmm.
And in this article, the CEO of YouTube said something that should worry everybody, okay? And she said this about commentary channels, and it kind of freaks me out even. She said
Here's
the question...
thing. I feckin' hate Trump. He embarrasses me every day.
She said... That's not what she said. She actually said... The question is, how do you draw the difference between creators criticizing each other and being a part of this free speech and open ideas? And then, where do we draw the line? Where do they cross the line? When is it no longer just ideas, but they're criticizing them as a person? And that's a scary thing for someone who holds the hands of all of our channels in her palm to say. Because, first of all, whenever the phrase... where do they cross the line, or where do you draw a line, is the dumbest thing ever, because the answer's always somewhere. Like, there's always a point where something becomes problematic. So you can't just... You, as the person who determines whether something is problematic, shouldn't just be saying... shouldn't just be saying, well, where do we draw the line about this? And it's like, you decide that. So, like... You should tell us where are you going to draw the line, and then we can adjust accordingly.
Yeah, that's very true, because what...
I love how at the beginning of this episode I said I don't get too mad about things on YouTube.
But instead of the CEO of YouTube to just be like, where do we draw the line? Make a decision, and I would kind of hope that the decision would be, we can't draw a line, because,
Why?
like... I think that when you draw a line, things kind of get too complicated.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate.
And unfortunately, I think that the line has to be, there is no line, this is an open platform.
But the thing is, the vagueness of that answer is also worrying, because it's like, she's kind of saying, where do we draw the line? And so that just kind of means we don't know what to do. We're just going to kind of do whatever we want. We're YouTube. We like money. And it's like...
Yeah, that's true. They
no,
don't
you
know
need to
what
make,
to do.
And it's like...
That statement
but it's like, you can
they
make
have no idea what they're going to do.
This is... And it's the thing is, this isn't a hard decision. What it reminded me of is... way back in the day when Trump was talking about Confederate statues, I know I brought a political example, and that's probably the last thing I should be doing at this point. But I saw on John Oliver when when Trump was just like, first it's Robert E. Lee and then it's Thomas Jefferson. You got to ask yourself, where does it stop? And it's like, dude, like Confederate statues are bad. Confederates were traitors. But, Thomas Jefferson, sure, he might not be the most perfect human in existence, but, he was our president.
Yeah, he invented
he
the
did
light
some
bulb.
bad things, but... yeah, he did some bad things, but, like, he's not a traitor. And it's like, YouTube needs to determine... I don't think they'll do this, but they need to determine, what they believe is fine, and what they believe is fine content, and then... get rid of all the unfine content, which unfortunately is going to mean that we're going to see some creators go. But I don't think that they're realistically going to do that. I think they're just going to, do whatever they want. And the other thing that she said that freaked me out was we could come out with a policy, and that policy could mean that a large amount of videos are now in violation. A lot of content that could be potentially really valuable to the platform. Our goal is to enable creators to create valuable content that's beneficial to society. And it's like, she's saying that a lot of innocent creators could be affected by this policy. And they could just lose their channel over over like a crime that they didn't really commit. But the thing is, she tags on that our goal is to enable our creators to create valuable content that's beneficial to society, which makes it seem like, oh, we're just trying to make sure all the good creators rise to the top. But it's like, no, you're just trying to make YouTube be how you want, which you honestly, have the prerogative to.
Look, I honestly think that the problem started when YouTube deleted InfoWars. I honestly think that's where it started.
Really?
Yeah, and I obviously
that's a big claim.
Yeah, I
Because
hate
didn't
InfoWars.
Everybody kind of delete InfoWars?
Yes, like
Okay.
iTunes delete, like everyone deleted InfoWars.
Yeah.
Like it was like a massive takedown plan. But I think that, like, I hate InfoWars, right? Like, it's a propaganda machine.
Yeah, let's make something clear. InfoWars
Is bad.
Is bad. They say horrible things, and everybody working there is horrible.
And sometimes, as a result of InfoWars, horrible things happen to good people, like hate mail and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that said, when YouTube deleted InfoWars, what they essentially did is they were making a statement by saying, we get to choose whatever goes on our platform, and that's what we're discussing now. And when they deleted InfoWars and said, we are keeping him deleted, they've essentially made that statement saying, we can delete whoever we want based upon what we think violates the guidelines of what we want on our platform. And then it was a slippery slope from there. And I know, like, the slippery slope argument, don't use the slippery slope argument, but it was.
Why is the slippery slope argument? That's exactly what it is.
I know, it was. It was
a
a
lot
slippery slope. It was,
because there's a lot of people,
and then they deleted Monkey Jones, and soon they're gonna delete PragerU, and I don't like PragerU, but, you know, it'll be InfoWars, then it'll be Monkey Jones, and then it's gonna be PragerU, then it's gonna be Ben Shapiro, then it's going to be Jordan Peterson, and then, guess what? It's going to be Chris Raygun, then it's gonna be Quentin Reviews.
And then it's going to be you.
Yeah.
That YouTube's just not going to have any more channels except for
every
Ryan Toys Review.
Is going to be gone. And all we'll have left is the knowledge of Ryan Toys Reviews and the simple fact that Thomas Jefferson invented the light bulb, and then we won't know where to go from there.
Yeah, and that's an interesting thing to talk about because there's a lot of people out there who will be like, good riddance to InfoWars. They say horrible things. I'm glad they're gone and they can't spread their horrible rhetoric. And to be honest, I'm fine with the fact that InfoWars is gone, even, aside from the fact that YouTube can just kind of do whatever they want. Because I didn't like InfoWars, but I think what it kind of started this train of, hey, we can just do whatever we want. Because I don't know how long the 7B, the thing that says that YouTube can do whatever they want, has been in the terms of service. I want to say it's been in there for a while. The last time that it was updated, the terms of service I'm reading was last updated on May 25th, 2018. I don't remember when InfoWars was deleted, but it was around then, I think. I could be wrong, though. But it's like they're kind of seeing right now, hey, how far can we get, and can we use this to make some money? So, Nick the Oreo, you better watch out, because your videos about Bunty King that are so insightful could be next. After they go through some bigger names.
But it's like the thing is, though, what this has all proved is YouTube clearly doesn't know what they're doing. Because, like, they'll delete InfoWars, yet, like, the alt-right podcast run by Richard Spencer is still well and good on YouTube.
Yeah,
and I mean, in my opinion, Richard Spencer is more dangerous than InfoWars.
Oh, yeah, because, I mean, Alex Jones isn't... I think Alex Jones is, like, a good target to just, like, get rid of, because he's an idiot.
Yeah.
He's not even good at presenting his horrible opinions. Like, at least Richard Spencer can talk like a human.
Yeah, like Richard Spencer, he's
dangerous
thing about Richard Spencer is that he's smart. And that doesn't mean his opinions are smart. His opinions are terrible and racist and awful. But he's smart in the sense that he's very well spoken and knows how to get people that are misinformed and easily swayed to one side to listen to him. Alex Jones would just be like, lol, Obama turned frogs gay. And Richard Spencer gives like these long paragraphs as to how a peaceful, quote-unquote, peaceful separation between people of different ethnicities will actually benefit people that are black. And it's such bullshit, and he's totally wrong, but he can actually convince people of his terrible opinions, yet he's still on YouTube, that Alex Jones is gone.
Yeah, it's... And to the point that YouTube doesn't really know what it's doing. It's like... The other thing is, when a channel is deleted, sometimes it's very intentional, but sometimes they'll just reinstate it at the first sight of a controversy. Like, one example was Derv, how, Derv, like, threatened to sue YouTube, and I don't think... And they were just kind of like, okay, you can have your channel back. And, like, Fainted was deleted for, like, a day. It's... You don't change your mind that... You don't have that much of an extreme view change in a day unless you just don't care. It's frightening.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing, I want to read one more response to my original tweet, because I think it has... This response, it has a little more thought put behind this. It's from The Right Opinion. And he said to my original tweet, if you remember it by now, when YouTube make decisions that I feel are morally bankrupt, I will call them out on it. I know how much someone's channel means to them. I know the emotional connection. Promoting futility is such a depressing concept. We have to believe in our ability to change things. And that's very optimistic, and I appreciate that. But here's the thing. YouTube has a lot of power over us. They don't really know what they're doing, and chances are they're not going to change things. So right now, us as creators have kind of two options. We can either play by all their rules to the best of our abilities and hope we don't get taken down for some dumb reason, or we can just kind of do whatever we want and again hope to not get taken down, but then our chances are slimmer. So yeah.
Yeah, the correct opinion is a bit more well spoken.
Yeah, I was a little relieved to see someone not just drilling
not
into
just
me.
saying, lol, your opinion wrong.
Today on what did Feith say?
Oh,
he said, like,
I think today on today's episode of like Bad Opinions or something.
Yeah, I love that show, Bad Opinions.
Let me find exactly what it was he said. I think maybe it was Terrible Opinions. Right. I don't know.
Are we ready to wrap up?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell my restaurant story while you find this.
Oh, it was on today's episode of Awful Opinions. There we go. I love that show.
My favorite show. It's a good show.
Everyone that agreed with that tweet, your 12 likes, when they found out that tweet was on today's episode of Awful Opinions, they're like, what? I didn't know that it was on today's episode of Awful Opinions. Oh man, I guess I can't like the tweet anymore.
Oh god, I have to come up with a restaurant. Alright, this is a good restaurant story. I went to the legendary Mickey D's today, and I ordered some buttermilk crispy tenders, some French fries, and a Dr. Pepper. And then when I got it, the Dr. Pepper lid looked really cool.
Is that it?
That's the worst one yet.
It was so boring. It wasn't even boring. It was so short. It was just nothing. There was nothing in that.
On today's episode of Awful Dr. Pepper Cans. Alright, I think it's very much time that this episode ends. Okay, bye world.